So this is my third interview for my Orwellian project. This one was a little bit more difficult to do because I really wanted to interview my best friend's dad because I'm really close to their family and I know personally that they've had financial struggles in the past, and I also know that her dad has had a lot of surgeries and lots of extensive surgeries as well. So I really wanted to hear his input, but there was just some difficulty with lining up our schedules and being able to get a call in, because where he lives he doesn't have good Wi-Fi service. Calls drop all the time. So when we did try and call, things didn't end up working out. So we just thought of a different way, which was to have him record himself answering the questions, and then I would just play his answers on my phone here. Unfortunately, that doesn't really allow me to elaborate on any of my questions to get more information out of him, but there is some information that I can give myself about his experiences and his knowledge about surgeries, health insurance, and all that stuff. So yeah, that is my explanation for this video. So my first question, well, for some background, his name is Mr. Brian. That's what I call him by. He's around 50 years old, and he has chronic Crohn's disease, and he used to be a collegiate soccer player. So he, I believe in his sophomore year of college soccer, he blew out his knee. So he had to have a whole surgery for that. He's had lots of medicine, extensive surgeries for his Crohn's disease, and among other issues that he's experienced. So yeah, he's got a lot of understanding and knowledge about this kinds of stuff. So my first question for him was, do you have health insurance, and if so, what kind? And this was his response.
Yes, I do, and it's a PPO.
So if I were to see him in person, I would have asked in more depth what a PPO is, but yes. So my next question was, have you ever not had insurance before?
Yes.
And I do know for a fact that he has, because he has told me some of his personal experiences with not having health insurance, but still having to go to the hospital himself and pay out of pocket for a lot of different kinds of health issues. So I know that he has lived his life for some time without medical insurance. I don't know when, but I know for a fact that he has, and that he has had to pay out of pocket for medical expenses before. My third question is, have you had any big health issues that have required you to seek medical treatment? And this was his response.
Yes, I've had different things. I've had my knee replaced, and I've had medical stays due to Crohn's disease. I've had 12 different surgeries.
So yes, obviously having so many different surgeries for a lot of different health reasons. He's had he has spent a lot of time in the hospital, and he has a really good understanding of the medical bills and how insurance covers all that and all that stuff. I definitely wish I could have gone into more detail about how old he was, if he had insurance at the time, how much it was for each type of surgery, or which ones were his most expensive. But yeah, my fourth question was, if you have had big health issues, did you ever worry about how you would handle it financially?
Yes, 100%.
So yes, I know for a fact, because we have had conversations about it. There was a time in his life where he was healing from, I believe, his knee replacement surgery, and he was placed on opioids. And at the time, he was unemployed, so he did not have insurance. and he had some difficulty getting back into a job just because of staying at home and being on those kinds of drugs. So I know for a fact that he did have some experience with just wondering or worrying that he wasn't going to be able to, handle it financially, because his wife does have a job, but it isn't the highest paying job. Certainly not enough money to pay for his medical bills, to pay other kinds of payments, and to support the 3 children that they do have in their family. So I do understand that he did have some, worries about handling money when it came to his medical problems. Another question I had was, if you do take medicine or if you have had surgeries, how much did insurance cover? And I just was like, it doesn't have to be a specific type of number, but this was his response.
For medicine, on average, it's a 90% savings in cost. For medical procedures like in the hospital surgeries, it's generally an 80% coverage of the total cost.
So 90 to 80% does sound like a really good percentage, but given the fact that he has had 12 surgeries, some of them being very big and very extensive, as well as the medicine they had to take afterwards and other types of treatment that he's had for his disease, I would imagine that although 90 to 80% of it is covered, that 10 to 20% still is a lot of money for him to handle himself. So it's good that he had that insurance to cover, but he still did have to pay some of that money because insurance didn't cover it all. So I'm sure that also kind of, gave him some worry, some financial possible issues. I don't know for sure. I'm just going off of what kinds of conversations we've had about this and this interview that I have here. So another question I have is your deductible or other payments expensive?
I think that they are too expensive, but I'm at a $1,500 deductible.
Okay, so like I said earlier, given that he is a father of 3 children, and he was unemployed for some time, I would imagine that sometimes paying the deductible is a little too high, because I understand that sometimes insurance companies will raise that deductible to a really high amount, almost to to kind of make people not want to pay. I understand that that's a thing, so I'm not surprised to hear that he does think that deductibles and other payments are too expensive. So yeah. And then my final question is healthcare insurance an easy thing to afford, and is it reliable?
Health insurance is not an easy thing to afford, and it is reliable once you have it, but you have to do your research on it to make sure you get the one that works best for you. So, it's a good thing that healthcare insurance can be reliable, especially because that man has had about 12 surgeries, so it would be very unfortunate if his medical insurance wasn't reliable, because having so many, procedures done, you would really hope that your medical insurance would be reliable and stable and wouldn't flake on you, given that you have a medical issue and requires you to get some sort of treatment or surgery. So it is a good thing that the type of insurance that he has is reliable. But then again, he said that it really wasn't an easy thing to afford. I mean, for a part of his life, he wasn't able to afford it, and he didn't have medical insurance. Thankfully, he does now have it, and he still has to deal with all the medicine and other treatments that he goes through to treat his Crohn's disease and among other issues. So it's unfortunate that for someone who's had so many medical issues in his lifetime, he still has to deal with more expenses. I'm sure that it is stressful given his family situation, that, you have to afford healthcare insurance on top of other things, because I mean, for someone like him, it's almost a necessity, because he would be covering a lot more money if he weren't able to have it. And I'm sure after going through a time period of not having it, I'm sure he's making it a top priority to make sure that he does keep it, because as we all know, medical insurance is not easy to afford, but also going and getting medical treatment without being insured is a lot more expensive and a lot more difficult to handle financially. So, yeah, I wish I was able to get an in-person interview with him, but unfortunately things weren't able to work out the way I wanted them to, with scheduling and the fact that we weren't able to get a successful call-in, just very different lives, because obviously I'm a teenager and he's a busy working man. So, yes, this is what I was able to do and the information I was able to get for him. So I am very thankful that he was able to take some time out of his day to answer some of my questions. And yeah, I gave him big thanks for that. And I gave thanks to my friend who was able to help me get answers from him. So yes, that is the conclusion of my interview. And yes, thank you very much.